What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin, and today, well, it's like the last little bit of October, last bit of spooky month videos. I've had some good ones so far, and now we're going to be contacting the undead because today we are learning how to play Destiny board. So, in case you don't know what Destiny board is, it's one of the few alternate win conditions of a duel, i.e., anything that says like if X happens, you win the duel. Exodia is like the original example of that, and Destiny board was second, I believe. So Destiny board is a continuous trap, and during each of your opponent's end phases, so long as it is up, you are able to put a spirit message card from your hand or deck onto the field. Once you get all the spirit message cards out, as well as with Destiny board, then you win. It recently got some new support that I think is really cool. And yeah, it's a lot more viable now, for like Mystic Mine and just a bunch of Mirror Forces. But I didn't want to build Mystic Mine and just a bunch of Mirror Forces because that's lame. That is the big lame, and you shouldn't do that. But yeah, pretty much I tried to build as pure of a Destiny board deck as I could based on Merrick's. Or was it Merrick? It might have been Occult deck. Who had the Occult deck? No, shoot, the name slips me, but there was a character in the anime who used this type of deck, and it was pretty cool. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right into the deck profile, starting with Destiny board, which we went over during the end phase of each turn. You can, each of your opponent's turn, you can take a Spirit Message spell, which is Linna, and by doing so, and they are in the proper order to spell the word final, you win. The issue with the Spirit Message cards is that they can't be placed on the field by anything other than Destiny Board's effect. So inherently, you're just kind of running bricks, but it's a little rough. Thankfully, there are support cards that make it a lot more viable, starting with one of the old newer pieces of support, Dark Sanctuary. So Dark Sanctuary is a field spell. Whenever a opponent declares an attack on you, they flip a coin. If it's heads, you negate the attack and deal your opponent half of whatever damage you have taken. If it's tails, the attack goes through. However, Dark Sanctuary has another effect that works specifically with Destiny board. Whenever you go to activate something off of Destiny board, you have the ability to special summon that spell as a fiend monster of 0 attack and defense that is unaffected by everything except for Dark Sanctuary, and it cannot be attacked. However, it does not stop direct attacks. So it's a neat way to keep your spell trap zones open for playmaking, just putting them on the field instead. Obviously, searchable by terraforming, but we do run it free because it is the deck's primary playmaker. Let's see, went over the message boards. Terraforming is to search the field spell, and Foolish Burial actually puts in quite a bit of work here because what you need graveyard setup or banish setup to be specific. For because we can actually talk about these two in the same vein: Dark Necrofear and Curse Necrofear. Dark Necrofear special summons itself by banishing free fiends from your grave, and Curse Necrofear special summons itself by targeting free banished fiends and returning them to the deck. They each have abilities when they are destroyed by an opponent's card. They revive themselves during the end phase, so long as they are in the graveyard. And when Dark Necrofear comes back, it equips onto a opponent's monster and takes control of it. When Cursed Necrofear comes back, it pops cards on the field up to the number of face-up spell traps you have with different names, i.e. the Spirit Message board, the messages and such. So they're both extremely good cards. They provide bodies, so your opponent won't just be attacking without big monsters. And even if they are destroyed, they recur themselves. Necrofear pops. Uh, Other Necrofear steals their stuff. So yeah, it's pretty good actually. And then the next little bit of new Spirit board or Destiny board support. So I don't. It's a weird name. Dark Spirits Mastery. On activation, you discard one to add a Destiny board or a level 8 Fiend from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And by banishing it from the grave, you can target any number of Destiny board or Spirit message cards with different names from your hand or grave, and put them on the bottom of the deck in any order. Then you draw the same number of cards you put back. Each effect is a hard once per turn. So this will search your Dark Necrofield, it will search your Curse Necrofear, it will search or recover your Destiny board. Uh, yeah, it's just a really good card. You shouldn't go without it with this type of deck. And it lets you just get rid of dead stuff. It's honestly pretty nuts. Beyond that, though, we have the final piece of new Destiny board support, Sentence of Doom. So Sentence of Doom is a continuous trap that allows you to target any number of fiend monsters that are banished or in the grave, up to the number of Destiny board or Spirit message cards that you have out, and you add them to your hand. And by sending this to the graveyard from the spell and trap zone, you can place a Spirit message card from your hand, deck, or graveyard in your spell and trap zone. It is treated as being set by Destiny board, and it is a hard once per turn on both of those effects. So clearly, this is here just to recover your Destiny board and make recovery a little bit easier. Uh, I partially wish it was not a trap, but no, it's pretty good. It boosts the consistency of Destiny board, allows you to recover your win con, which is a big problem the deck did have before this. So yeah, very good card. Now for the rest of our monsters that we didn't really go over because of these two. We have two Necro Face because when it is summoned, all banished cards are returned to the deck and shuffled. When itself is banished, each player banishes the top 5 cards of their deck. Clearly, this synergizes well with Curse Necrofear because you can put resources back. You can, just sort of do whatever with this. It's pretty sick. We also have Doom Caliber Knight, which cannot be special summoned, and if a monster effect is activated as a quick effect, it attributes itself to negate the activation and destroy that monster. Fun fact about Doom Caliber Knight, I learned for this. That's not an optional effect. The first monster effect that activates, Doom Caliber Knight will proc on. So that was very neat to learn. Now we have Jura Ghetto, which special summons itself from the hand during the battle step and gives you 1,000 attack points. It can also tribute itself as a quick effect in order to give something on the field 1,000 more attack. And did I say gives 1,000 attack? No, it gives 1,000 life points. Gives 1,000 life points. That's my bad. But yeah, it's a great way to stall for time, get a little bit of health back. Continuing the battle phase is always super nice. So yeah. Then we have Prometheus, the King of Shadows, which when he is normal summoned, you can banish one or more dark from the grave to give it 400 attack for each till the end of this turn. This is mostly to set up for Necrofear. This Necrofear. Because Prometheus can, at times, fulfill the condition on his own. He can even banish a Necroface in order to get more banishes there. So yeah, he's a very good card in this deck. And then we have a newer card that I didn't know existed until recently, Luna the Dark Spirit. So it cannot be normal summon or set, and you have to special summon it from your hand by banishing a dark monster from your grave. And once returned during your standby, you burn your opponent for 500. That's all it does. Not super impressive. It's mostly here to build up banishes for the Necrofear. But yeah, it's kind of cool. It's a special summon, so yay, I suppose. Now for the rest of our sort of generic support, we have free Allure of Darkness because we run all dark monsters and drawing is nice. Free Pot of Extravagance because we don't really use the extra deck with this deck. Win Over the Foolish because it sets up for certain plays, just say sending a Necroface, summon Prometheus, banish the Necroface. Message boards we went over, and yeah, that's actually everything in the main deck. Alright, alright. Now for the extra deck. We basically just ran Staples at 2 because the Pot of Extravagance forces us to. So we have 2 each of Nightmare Package, free Boral Load, and 2 each set up for Utopia the Lightning. They're mostly there to have more generic outs to things, and yeah, it's good to have them just as a backup plan. Now for our side deck, we have free Radiant for our Kaiju, free Call by the Grave for hand traps, free Twin Twister for spell trap removal, free Storming Mirror Force in case we feel stally, and free Defense Zone, which is I think, the coolest field spell ever. So what Defense Zone says is that for each monster a player controls in their main monster zone, the spell traps in the same column as that monster cannot be destroyed by or targeted by opponent's card effects. And yeah, imagine having a Necrofear sitting in front of a Destiny board with this on the field. Necrofear is hard to deal with at times, so yeah, you basically just have an invincible Destiny board. I think it's a really cool tech against decks that do a lot of spell trap removal, and yeah, I think it's decent. Now that's the deck profile. If you're new here, we just go over a couple replays where we go over the strengths and weaknesses of the deck. Just things like that. Pretty informative topics. And before anyone in the comments says anything, well, if you do say anything now, I know you didn't watch to this point, I guess. Uh, I know I could have just done like Mystic Mine. Okay, I realize Mystic Mine is an option. But I don't want to do that. I want to use the support as it was intended. And that's how this is going to go down. If you want to do your Destiny board with Mystic Mine, yeah, like it's a better deck. It's probably going to win, and you're smarter than I am, but this is how we're doing it. Because Mystic Mine is not entertaining. But yeah, all that being said, I'll see you guys in the first replay. Alright everyone, welcome to the first game with Knock. We are Ouija, because of, Ouija boards, kind of like the deck's theme, and our opponent has opened possibly fine. I know what they're doing here, and it's not the best, but like, this will show the deck doing well. But yeah, we are going to go first. Obviously, we activate the Pot of Extravagance first, as we must do, to draw. Then we activate the Dark Spirit Mastery, discarding a card to search a Destiny board. We discard the Necrofear, or the Necroface, sorry. And then we are going to normal summon our King Prometheus, who will be, like I said earlier, banishing the Necroface. Then we banish the top 5 each. We see is playing a weird train thing. Now, however, we have at least 3 banished fiends, so we are able to summon the Necrofear from our hand. Now we'll activate the Dark Sanctuary, set the Destiny board, and pass it up. It is our opponent's turn. He's going to go ahead and try to do some Sky Striker unbricking. Not really sure why. Well, okay, so here's what I think he was trying to do. I think he was trying to set up his graveyard of spells, which he has, activate the Afterburner, pop the Prometheus, because the Necrofear would just come back, and the Destiny board or the Dark Sanctuary. Here's what I thought he was doing. It's not what he actually does, but I feel like that would have been the move. So yeah, he's going to go ahead and just make plays. The Relinquish Anima happens, which is unfortunate. Goes ahead and activates that, activates the Monster Reborn, and it's at this point that he stopped being able to use his Afterburner and stopped being able to pull out super effective moves against us. So the Dare Crane's coming down, Glow Up Bulb's bringing itself back, make the Needle Fiber, summoning the Ash Blossom from hand, assuming did not have any more tuners in the deck, makes the Anger Knuckle, sets the Afterburner, and attacks with the Prometheus. However, we are going to be using the Dark Sanctuary, landed on head, so he's going to take some burn. Dark Sanctuary unfortunately fails that time though, and Prometheus stops. End of battle phase, we go ahead, activate the Destiny board. He ends it. He's going to get the search off of the Ruffian Railcar. And then we are able to special summon an Eye, because Dark Sanctuary's effect. Because a card would have been placed by Destiny board, I was able to summon it as a monster instead. So yeah, it's our turn now. We're just going to summon Doom Caliber, go into battle phase, pass it up there. Then the opponent is going to go ahead and try to use Anger Knuckles effect. Doom Caliber procs against our will, but I probably would have used it here anyways. So we destroy the Anger Knuckle, he does not get his effect, and then it is his turn. He will go ahead and use Anger Knuckles' effect to send the Afterburner to the grave to bring itself back. Setting the Skill Drain and summoning the Night Express Knight. I can't help but feel like I don't know. I feel like he should have gotten rid of the skill drain there. I just getting rid of the skill train. Search another Derricrane unless you're out of Derricranes. Another Derricrane or another bullet train. Let's see. Are you? Uh, no. He had options for searching. Okay, wanted to make sure I wasn't being dumb here. As our opponent's turn, he's going to attack with the Anger Knuckle. Dark Sanctuary burns him. Attacks with 0 for reasons, I guess. Our Destiny board procs again. So now we have Finn. It's our turn though, so we draw. We're going to go ahead and banish free to summon the Dark Necrofear. Skill drain happens, which is fine because we just need numbers. Because we're going to go ahead and summon our Cursed Necrofear. Attack over the Anger Knuckle, and that's going to be our turn. So now it's back to our opponent who draws the Barrage Blast, getting rid of his skill drain because that was so helpful for him. He's going to summon the Night Express Knight, make the 81, obviously climb up into the Libe. Activates the effect for attacks. Sanctuary procs, he takes free 1000 burn because of it. He goes for it again, Sanctuary procs again, and he gets free 1000 burn from it. So yeah, that's kind of the deck working well in action. It doesn't always end up like this. It actually hardly ever ends up like this, but that's kind of what you want to do with this version of the deck. Dark Sanctuary defends while you're just able to bring out big recurring bodies. And while the Destiny board just activates again and again. But yeah. So that was the first game. Things going fairly well. The meme of dying to Dark Sanctuary. Obviously, I don't think this was the best train player in the world. He had a really weird deck. But yeah, no, good game for this deck. And now you're going to, in the second replay, see why this deck, it's just bad. Why this is not a good deck. But yeah, I'll see you guys there. Alright, going to the second and final replay with Ulkfire. He is playing a Red Eyes Dark Magician thing, obviously due to the new fusion, Dragoon of Red Eyes. Pretty good card, pretty good card. And you're going to see this deck and why it is just kind of bad. But, well, this deck, not this deck. This deck is actually surprisingly solid. But, yeah, let's get right into it. We are going first, which is what we want to do at the very least. So we go ahead and activate the Allure, dropping the Necrofear because we can't really use it all. Activate Terraforming to go ahead and deck in for another Dark Sanctuary. Activate the Sanctuary, set the Sentence of Doom, and that's about all we can do here outside of pray for Juragetto to come through for us. But yeah, now is our opponent's turn. He is going to go ahead and set a few, activate the Red Eyes Fusion. I figured that, hey, Red Eyes Fusion, probably Dragoon. So going ahead and activating the Sentence of Doom to avoid it being negated. So battle phase, Dark Sanctuary is going to try to activate. However, Dragoon negates it. So yeah, however, we are going to be doing a few chains, getting a Juragetto on the field for the defense. Sentence of Dooming to go ahead and summon out a message board. Unfortunately, it does destroy our Dark Sanctuary. And this doesn't stop us from being attacked, so it's rough. It's a little rough. So we activate Dark Sanctuary. I tried to get the negate out of the way. I figured I could maybe draw into something good with a lure. He's going to activate the Dark Magic Inheritance to search some 6 spell traps. We activate the Allure. I was hoping for the best here, and there's nothing we can do now. Our opponent's going to activate the Eternal Soul, and then they are going to just continue to make plays. Dark Magician plays, so we get banished. Thankfully, Dark Sanctuary's effect continues to apply onto the summoned Spirit Message. However, this doesn't stop us from taking direct attack damage. And yeah, that's why the deck doesn't work. Because as you can see, our opponent had a grand total of 1 negate the entire time. Admittedly, it's a really good negate, but it is still just 1 negate. This deck cannot play through things. It requires so much setup to actually work, and against strategies that can like disrupt your plays in any amount, like Dragoon here. Like you just this deck just can't do anything to them. But yeah, that's the deck. It's fun as hell to play. There are obviously better ways to play it, like I mentioned, of say like Mystic Mind, Fossil Dyna, and a bunch of Mirror Forces. But yeah, no, not a. It's a fun deck. It's definitely a fun deck, and if someone could tell me how to improve it, I would love that because I would love like a non-Mystic Mind stally version of this deck to be able to work. But yeah, that all being said, like if you like, comment if you have something to say, and subscribe if you want some more. This has been Ronin, signing off.